Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Get in the Herd, a recovery podcast brought to you by the McShin Foundation.
Award-winning McShin Foundation.
Award-winning podcast. I'm your host, Alex Bond. I am a person in recovery from a substance use disorder, which means that for over 15 months, I've not found the need to put any mood or mind-altering substances in my body. And I get to do fun stuff like this. So I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Nathan Mitchell. How are you doing?
Hey, everybody. Welcome. It is Groundhog's Day. It is Groundhog's Day. It is Groundhog's Day. Yeah, I'm making a joke there. Groundhog's Day. Happy Groundhog's Day, everybody. Happy February. Johnny Fab, good to see you up there, buddy. Before we get introducing our guests and getting into the show, I want to take a moment of privilege here, and I want to ask a question. There's a French word.
Oh my God.
We were just talking about this before the show. Boulanger, I believe, is the French word for a baker. What is the French word for a guy who makes cheese? And that's the word. So if you know, put it in the comments, and maybe we'll send you a shirt. Probably not, but we'll give you a shout out. But let's introduce our guest over here. So do you mind if I do this?
Please.
I'm sorry, buddy. I took over.
He's been taken over.
It's the coffee. It is a fantastic Tuesday, and we have Tonya over here today in our I guess we'll call this a studio. In our midst. Tonya, who the heck are you, and what brings you to the show today?
I'm brought to the show because I was asked to come to the show. And who am I? I'm Tonya Dalton, and I'm a grateful recovering addict.
Well, good. I was thrown off by Johnny Fab, who's putting cheesemaker in the comment. No, but I want the French word for cheesemaker, Johnny.
Tonya, we're very happy to have you here. I think you have a wonderful attitude, and you have I think the best word to call it is spunk about you.
Thank
That
you.
is just very engaging and active. And I think you have a lot of willingness in general. This isn't your first time at McShin, though, correct?
No, it's not.
Can you explain how or why that is?
Oh, how and why? Well, I came last year in June, and I came in an intensive. Wasn't withdrawing or anything, but I had partied myself homeless, basically. And
Partied myself homeless.
Absolutely. And with saying that, also I was in an extremely toxic relationship, abusive and all that. So when I came here, I found a really safe place, to be. And and with intensive, you give up everything, your phone, your keys, your church all day. And at first I hated it. But I grew to actually love it, But after 45 days, here I was thinking, I've got this. I've got the recovery. I'm good. And I ran off, wound up leaving McShin, which to this day I regret, with him, that
The person you were in that toxic relationship with.
Which, he actually was my DOC, just that toxic love. For 4 months after that, and I'm going to say I was literally living in hell. I was. Didn't have a phone to where I could reach out to like my network or anything, call anybody or whatever. So literally the serenity prayer is what kept me optimistic, is what kept, me sane. Did I relapse? Absolutely did. But I relapsed in that way is because I loved him so much and he didn't want to get clean. So I was like, I'm going to be that mirror image. This is how much I love you. This is what's killing you. I'm going to do it now because I want you to see what you're doing to yourself. Just to make a long story short, he got extremely, extremely abusive to the point where I was like, I don't deserve this anymore. Unfortunately, fortunately, he is locked up right now. And when I came back home, I was lost, extremely lost. Because I sat back and I was like, well, who am I without him? That was my love for almost 2 years, Yeah, I got my family and everything back, but, I had to prove myself to them. But still with him, I was just like, I was with him for so long. Like, who am I now? So the girl that you see today, that wasn't that girl coming back. And coming back to McShin just reminded me who I was. You know, there's a song that says, you know, when your heart is broken, you go home. And I was like, where's home? Where is home? And my first day back, actually, Cricket, he looked at me, he said, welcome home, Tonya. Mm-hmm. And then that's when I actually felt that warmth and, you know, that sense of, okay, I am home. Which is great.
I like that. I like that welcome home. Mm-hmm. You know, I think a lot of us feel that. I mean, I certainly get that. Mm-hmm. I was discussing I don't know. I think it was at the Wednesday meeting last week. I was talking about when I whatever meeting it was, I was talking about when I don't feel right in the head, like this place is where I want to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And sometimes it's this place that's causing it to not be right in the head, but I still want to be here. Yeah. Like, it's like there's this desire to get it right here.
And funny story is, I remembered that I made High Noon my home group. And when I first come back, I was just going to every meeting that I possibly could, you know, to listen to that message. Because my daughter said to me, she said, Mama, you got 2 ears to listen and one mouth to speak. And that really hit me hard, because I'm like, this is my daughter, you know, and she's giving me these great words of wisdom, you know. And so I came back here to do High Noon, and quite a few of the McShin folks looked at me and I was like, are you coming back, Tonya? Are you coming back? And I hadn't even, you know, thought of doing that. I didn't even entertain that idea because of the way I left, you know. And I was just, oh God, shame rushed over my body, embarrassment. Yeah. You know, like I didn't want to like sit and talk to them and then be like, you know, but they didn't. No one asked the questions like, why did you leave? They didn't want to talk about it, and I didn't want to talk about it either.
But not enough to stay out of the building. So your shame wasn't suffocating enough to prevent you from still chasing your recovery enough to come to meetings here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think that's important to note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to be honest, when the new year came in, I was clean. I had not done any, you know, toxic substances that were detrimental to my brain. But literally the day before I came back to McShin, I did. And, you know, it was not my DOC. It was horrible and disgusting. And I felt just, like crap. Mm-hmm. And to be honest, it wasn't doing, you know, that drug that, you know, made me feel like, okay, I need to go back to McShin. It was looking at the people around me, looking at the people that I was surrounding myself with, you know, stealing things from someone else right up under their nose, you know, taking everything that they could so that they could go on the street and make some money to get what they wanted. I was like, I don't want to live like that anymore. You know, when they say sick and tired of being sick and tired, absolutely, you know, and get it right this time. What is right? I don't know. But where I'm at and what I'm doing feels right. So I'm going to stick with that.
I also think that like you are very self-aware to the fact that this is an addiction to a lifestyle, to these, you know, detrimental behaviors more than it is drugs.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's what I'm hearing you say and you share is these relationships, this lifestyle, these behaviors is kind of like what you were getting your rush out of. Is that safe to say?
It is very safe to say. And I'm going to be 100% honest. Like, I wasn't the one that would get high, you know, because, I'm having a great day, you know, and it absolutely was that pain and suffering that I felt inside because, you know, here's the man I love and he's calling me all these horrible names. And all I want to do is love him and him love me back. So, you know, that was the reason why I was getting high. You know, it's the pain and the suffering that I feel like, honestly, every person who is an addict wants to cover up. You know, it's all those bad feelings. Me personally, it wasn't the good feelings that I wanted to mask. But, you know, when you put this toxic, you know, chemicals into your body, it masks all of them. You know, you become numb and then you don't feel anything at all. You know, and I'm not a religious person. I'm very spiritual. And, you know, that cut me off from being open to the God of my understanding. You know, he was always there with me, but I didn't feel him, you know, and a lot of people will say, you know, God abandoned me, you know, and, you know, I hate him for that. He didn't abandon you. You abandoned him, you know, by getting high because you cut yourself off from him, you know, by you not feeling, you know, the bad, the good in between, whatever. That means that you didn't feel that he was there. So I don't want to say I don't ever want to hear someone say that, but when I hear someone say that God abandoned them, it's like, no, you abandoned him.
So you're back now. You've been back for what, about 3 weeks?
Well, I have 16 days under my belt.
16 days. Okay, great. So you've been here just over 2 weeks then. Oh,
yes.
wow. And you have a pretty strong presence around here. It's like you really uplift people. And you're at the one of our step up houses, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So how are things over there? How is transitioning from being out on your own to living with other women in early recovery at different stages in recovery?
I love it.
Yeah,
I do. I love it. Because I am that person that, that sees the good in everyone. So when I'm, at the step up house, we've got, the girls are doing their own thing.
Y'all packed over there right now.
Oh, absolutely. We got one bed open. And since we're doing our own thing and, we have our jobs and stuff, we're buying like new shoes and, all that. So we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff. But it's cool because, we share each other's stuff. Clothes and, makeup. But I'm going to be honest, like as soon as I walked in the door, and just like with McShin, when you walk into the building, it's welcome, and like I said, I'm that person that sees that light in everyone. And all of the girls over there, like I couldn't and I would not say anything negative about them. I wouldn't. They're all doing their thing and they're doing it very well. There are times when, I don't, and it's just because I just don't. They cry and they want someone to vent to, and they want someone to listen to, and I'm just really, really grateful and happy to be that one that they come to, because 9 times out of 10, they don't want advice. They just want someone to listen to them, and like I said, I'm just glad that I can be that one to listen to, for them to listen to.
It's incredibly awesome to have a person in my life. I can, I'm very fortunate to have several people in my life, but 1 or 2 or 3 people in my life, I can just sort of all over and not have it get, blown out of perspective. I haven't done that in a long time. Perhaps just last night.
Perhaps 18 hours
with Alex in my office just last night.
But symbiotic, it's important because it feels like the person that I am comfortable unloading this onto isn't going to judge me for what I have to get off my chest right now.
Absolutely.
Taking that judgment off the table is a trusting thing to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Well,
just trust that I'm being heard and that I'm listening at the same time.
Yeah, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Alex, but that's another thing about coming into, a recovery, house. People are like, they're going to judge me for the things that I did. And it's not about your past. We share our stories, experiences and stuff. And that's just what connects us together. That we all have different stories, but at the same time, we're the same. We're here for the same reason. And I do see a lot of people who just kind of sit back in the corner, and they don't trust because they don't want to be judged. And that's the person that I go to, and I'll give them a hug and say, hey, just keep coming back and just listen. All you do is listen. You don't have to share, because the more you come and the more you listen, you're going to realize that no one here is judgmental at all. And I think that's amazing that McShin, provides that. Like, that's that vibration that you get from every single employee for McShin. Y'all are extremely non-judgmental. So
try to be. I'm still human, but at the same time, it's kind of like I've been there thing. I try not to judge, but when I'm like trying to give advice and it kind of goes in one ear and out the other. I don't judge as much as kind of like evaluate what the authenticity there is. If it's like, I really want help, and then they still don't do what you need to do to try to be successful in recovery, it's like, do you really want the help, or are you just saying that you really want the help so you can get what you want instead of what you need?
Yeah, and I could absolutely, identify with that, because there's been 1 or 2 that, come to me for the advice, and like you said, in ear one out the other, because the advice that I give, to me is like great advice, you know, because I'm at that point now where I can take my own advice, because I've always given great advice, just I could never take my own.
Yeah.
You know, and then when I give it, 10 minutes later, it's like, did we just talk? Like, didn't I just, no, it didn't stick. Okay, well, maybe next time.
Well, Nathan and I, we were talking about this last night, because it was kind of like, I think what sucks about people not taking your advice isn't like a disappointment that you're not listening to me.
No.
It's a disappointment that I think my advice isn't very good. Actually, that my suggestion isn't being taken because they don't think it's very good. And since my disease tells me I'm not enough a lot of times, that's my way of tricking myself into saying like, oh, this person doesn't think I'm giving good advice. That's what the problem is here, is it's me.
Well, no, and I honestly, I
people.
feel like that person's just not ready. Like they may be here, but they're just not ready for it. They don't want it yet. And unfortunately, there's a lot of people that do come here and they're not ready for recovery yet. They think they are, but they're really not. And it's sad. It is really sad. But it is a good thing to see, like me, for instance. I left and then come back. And it's always great to see someone, that's just like, okay, this isn't where I want to be. I can't do the church all day. This sucks, whatever. Go back out there on the streets and realize, like, I don't want to live that lifestyle. Like it's cold. It's just nasty out there. And they do come back. But when they do come back, like I would say like 8 out of 10 really sit down, and then they start listening. They open those ears up. They shut that mouth. They give that phone, when they're supposed to. And
so you're, what I'm hearing you say is that experience can be a benefit or an asset.
Absolutely.
To find that desperation or that willingness.
Absolutely.
What are your thoughts, Nathan?
An asset, a gift of desperation, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
I love your truth.
I was gonna. So for those who are listening and not watching right now in real time, there are comments from Facebook, and aside from the ones that talk about cheese, Gwen Smith says, and she's one of our longtime listeners, and she would be probably a diamond top fan if we activated that.
Actually, it's activated.
It is activated.
It is activated.
Oh, all right.
So it's been activated. I was under the impression it was not, but yes, she is a top fan.
Well, Gwen, get fanning some more then, Gwen. Gwen says,
"Thank you, Gwen.
Hi, Tonya. I love how honest and forthright you are." And Laura Noel May, do you know Laura? I don't know her. But thank you for commenting, and says, love your truth. I love that. Thank you for listening. And Jamie Hancock Hall says she's proud.
There was Clay.
Where's Clay?
Clay, he's up some.
He's up some?
Clay said,
oh, he's talking about
says
cheese.
fromage.
Oh, well, then it's probably right, because Clay is
Johnny
very
Crab said
intelligent.
fromage is French cheesemaker. I am a size large, in reference to the T-shirt that you said that he would get.
Johnny,
Hilarious.
I think I okie doked you, buddy. I'm sorry. Debbie Rosenbaum, she is our new Debbie. Good to see you. She's our new chairman of the board of directors at McShin.
Oh.
She's listening here. She says, so grateful you made your way back, Tonya. Recovery looks terrific on you.
Love Debbie.
Thank you.
Yeah, Debbie. Debbie's cool. Debbie, good to see you. Good to see you listening. I don't know. Words are weird. It is so nice to hear you watching. Yeah, right.
It's so nice to hear you watching.
We could make this creepier. Tonya, you have such a refreshing sense of humor, and such a mama bear quality.
That's what I was gonna say. Mama bear.
Yes.
And I love that about you. I also know, we were talking yesterday, and to continue along that theme, when I am working with somebody and I'm offering suggestions, like, I gotta remember that I'm not God.
Mm-hmm.
And my sponsor has a little daughter, and she was on the phone one time. I was going on and on and on and on, and my sponsor's like, have you prayed about it? You're not God, blah, 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 blah. All the things sponsors say. And I love my sponsor, and he's always right, and I hate that. But Winnie, his little daughter's in the background, and I think she's like 4. And she says, Nathan, be Nathan.
Oh.
And the two of us, because what I recognize is that I only have what I have to give. And I'm not going to have all the answers for everybody. That sucks because I want to, and that's my ego talking.
Yeah.
That's my edging got out right there. And, I struggle with that. I struggle with that all the time. We were talking about that yesterday, and I never really thought of it in the same way that you thought of it. But now that you've told me the way you think about it, I'm actually now obsessing about a new reason that I'm a failure now. But it's refreshing to talk to people, in recovery, because who are on that I want to help kick.
Yeah. Because
I think so many of us in recovery or just finding recovery have gotten, so bogged down in the I don't belong here. Can't do anything. I'm useless. That we really know that feeling of that gift of desperation and want to do, that hopelessness. And when we see a little bit of light, so often the ones around us want to just grab everybody and go towards that light. And that it's really refreshing. I love seeing you with all the other participants. What are the challenges you face at the house with the girls? How about, does everybody clean their dishes and do the chores?
They don't. And I'm going to admit, I am human. I'm not perfect. I slack on that too.
Ooh.
But, at the same time, when I get back, it's done in the day. It does get done in the day. But I'm that type of person. I actually voice this to my housemates. We're a family. We live in this house together. We're a family. Absolutely bring it to that person's attention that they didn't do their chores, but do it for them. They might have, some people do work late. They're tired. Let's do it for them if we have that moment to do it, but also bring it to their attention, and the challenges are pretty big because of, I want to say, just like the different ages. You got some, 20s, 30s, 40s, and even though there's no one with years under their belt, it's like the older ones I see, they kind of have that wisdom to them. It's not all of them, but they have the wisdom, and normally they've been here a few times. So I don't want to say it's their last go round, but I'm praying. I'm going to say it's their last go round, that they get it, and when someone gets it, that's amazing. Like that's who you want to stick with. That's who you want to, be around. But then there's some that it's like they get it while they're sitting with you, like where you're just one-on-one, it's that amazing connection. It's like, you're just vibing and everything that y'all say, you're just feeding off each other. And I was like, yeah. But then 2 seconds later, they walk off and it was just like left there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wait a second, what just happened?
Just even more frustrating because I know that you're capable of it and the stuff to do and you're actively making a decision not to.
Yes. And I see a lot of people still going back to their past, and that's one thing that is very important in recovery. Your past is your past for a reason. You don't let it define you. You learn from it. Let's not make those same mistakes. Let's just learn that lesson so that we can move on, so that we can be grateful recovering addicts, so that we can be what I want to be, a productive member of society and not like frowned upon, that's that addict. No.
Well, I've even found it like in reference to kind of the house dynamics and responsibilities and stuff like that. I've found it like for me personally, it is less important that I do what I'm supposed to and more important that I do what I say that I'm going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like holding up my word is even more important to me than it is like making sure my stuff gets done. If I tell you, because it forces me to be realistic in what's actually going to happen. Because if I say I'm going to get this done, it's got a certain time limit on it and it's got to be done or else I'm letting people and myself down a little bit or something like that.
With me, and I say this a lot, I only have 2 things in this world: my name and my word. And if I give you my word on something, I'm absolutely going to own up to that. And identifying with you, like, if I say I'm going to do something, I don't want to let anybody else down. Yes. But I also don't want to let myself down because I've let myself down so much, which led to, that vicious cycle of, relapsing, that I'm not doing that anymore. I absolutely am not, the key to recovery, changing your way of thinking, and that's where my mind is,
That's a difficult thing to do.
It really is. It is, but it isn't, and I hate to say, that it was, when I say living in hell, when you're high and you're looking at jails, institutions, and death, you really don't care. You're just like, whatever, bring it on. I don't care, But when you're looking at jails, institutions, and death and you're sober, now that's a completely different, realization,
It's more like tangible for sure.
Oh gosh, tangible is an understatement.
Yeah.
Gwen also asks that you mentioned the spiritual aspect of recovery. Can you talk about that more?
You have your classes.
It's crazy. I can read these comments now.
The spiritual asset. I mean, everyone has to believe in a power greater than themselves. I've lived in the darkness for a lot. And it sucks in the darkness. In the light, it's a lot harder, but at the same time, okay, spiritual aspect, like we're all put here for a reason. We're all put here for a purpose. I say God because a lot more people can identify with that, but I am more spiritual. I believe in like the universe, the healing, vibes of the earth and stuff. And with saying that, like, it's just like when I pray, for instance, I thank God for my sufferings, my trials, my tribulations, all the bad stuff that happens, because that's just going to make me more grateful for my blessings. You can't abandon a power higher than yourself. Like, how can you? I can't fathom someone actually thinking that there isn't anything greater, like nothing, like this, we created this, the trees and the birds and the bees. Like, how can you fathom that you did that? I'm not saying that you have to understand it, but I mean,
or that it just happened.
Yeah. Cause
out of what? Coincidence.
Absolutely. No, I don't believe in coincidences. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and was saying that, like, we'll even just tap into, my grandma's Japanese, so that ties into the Buddhism and, just the way that my grandmother, looked at, the higher power aspect was so beautiful. They believe in suffering, that suffering's going to happen no matter what, but they also believe that, you have the power within yourself to ease that suffering. You don't have to dwell on it, and I'm that person that's just like, I give it away. Like intrusive thoughts. I don't like intrusive thoughts. So when I have an intrusive thoughts, I'll just take it from my mind. I don't know if that really answers the question really, but spiritual aspect is key. It is key. Like you can't do this on your own without a higher power, with something greater than yourself to believe in.
I think it's pretty interesting that you're saying we kind of choose if we suffer depending on our responses to that suffering. I mean, that's pretty Buddhist mindset, right, Nathan? I mean,
absolutely. And I've been discussing that a lot lately too. It's okay. We may not always choose what happens to us, but we can choose to suffer. And we choose our response.
Yeah, we choose how we react to it. If we dwell on that suffering, then what's your reaction going to be?
Yeah, and we continue to make decisions, or have actions based on that trauma and suffering. Absolutely. That's going to just perpetuate that, not only for ourselves but for the people who encounter us. So it's important for me to address those things. And Bernadette Bowman, she says every day's a new day. Keep going, girl. Recovery is hard for some, and especially the ones that think they have it all figured out. Amen to that.
Right.
My girls sometimes struggle with the community living thing at the House of Hope, but it all works if you work it. I love McShin and all that they instill, and my reading and
due to help you all
get better and be better. Yeah. Where is the House of Hope? Do you know? Anyone? Bernadette, please let us know more about the House of Hope. It's probably something I do know, and I realize a lot of the country is actually snowed in right now, so we have some good numbers watching. Laura says, y'all don't know. I said y'all.
Y'all.
Y'all don't know me. She's in Texas. Y'all don't know me, but my support through my recovery has been and continues to be is Susie Napier. I started listening when she was a guest. I live in Texas. I was serious. Yeah, I had read that already. I live in Texas now, but love this podcast because it makes me feel connected to home. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Laura. Yeah, we have a cool little show here.
There are a lot of House of Hopes. Is what I found out.
Well, that's a good thing. It's a good name.
Warren County. I mean, that's what I would guess. In
probably, yeah,
maybe.
So, what do you see? What do you see?
Oh, Tonya, stay here. We need you. Thank
What
you,
she
Kat.
say? Kat, say, keep going. Great. Oh, Cam. Oh, hi, Kat. Camden's getting so big. I haven't seen Camden in a few weeks, but Camden's so big. He's so cute.
I got a question for you.
All right.
Did you have a question?
Nah.
I don't want to.
I'm ripping.
I don't want to elbow you out because something you said earlier affected me personally. So, well, like the way that I think, at least. So you said that you were in a relationship, a toxic relationship that became abusive. And my question for you is, did it become abusive, or do you think you were becoming clear-minded enough to notice the abuse was there?
Yes, clear-minded enough to notice the abuse was there because it was there from the beginning.
That's my question. Okay,
it was
interesting. Not cool. I apologize.
Sadly, once I became aware, I did realize from the beginning he started out with the mental abuse.
Gaslighting you.
Yeah, when that didn't work, he hit me with emotional abuse, which they kind of tie in together.
Psychological warfare.
Oh man, let me tell you. He would look at me and say checkmate quite a bit. But anyways, he tried with that spiritual. He tried very, very hard. But like I said, that's Serenity Prayer. I just kept saying it over and over in my head. So that kept, and when I would be able to go out with nature and just kind of like compose myself, I was good. And then when none of those worked is when he started getting physical. And I always looked and then I said, you know what? These bruises, they'll heal. These bumps and these bruises ain't gonna go. They'll go away. But that mental, and that emotional, because there were some things that he would say that I was just like, no, that ain't true. That's not true. I know who I am. That's not true. But there were other things because, like I said, I love this man with my whole soul that just, it killed my soul. It felt like it was just taking piece by piece by piece. And I'm going to be really honest with it. That's when I noticed, like, it was like my soul was leaving my body. And I was like, nah, Tonya. No, be true to thyself. Absolutely not. You got to get out of here.
So kind of as we were talking about earlier, that spiritual bankruptcy was starting to happen, but never fully came to like an end. Because that happens to some people. It's just like complete entire like disconnectedness from anything bigger than themselves.
And I absolutely knew that because sadly, a lot of people do lose that soul. They do lose their spirit and don't know how to get it back. And sadly, sometimes never get it back. So I knew that if mine went away, there's that possibility it's not going to come back. And I was like, no, even if I just have a little sprinkle left, then I'm going to make it in this world. No.
That's beautiful. Well, I'm glad you still got that sprinkle.
Thank you.
Shout out to our guest a couple weeks ago, Michael Williams. What's up, buddy?
Hey.
And Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. That's where the House of Hope is. Very interesting. Thank you, Bernadette. This has been very informative from the comment section the entire time.
It has been.
We're learning
very participatory
about Chambersburg, House of Hope, and what Fromagère is.
I love that you have glasses and can read the board.
It's crazy. Now. I could have been learning so much on these podcasts.
When you read before I did, I went, wait, hold on. It's bizarre. So we talked about family. We talked about it feeling like family.
Yeah.
And for a lot of us getting here, that word itself can be problematic.
Scary.
It can be very, a lot of us, some glasses, Alex, Gwen, I'm such a squirrel chaser today. Squirrel chaser. But for that word family can be somewhat perhaps even triggering.
Yeah.
Not even perhaps. It can be triggering for some. So how do we reconcile? Because I know what you mean, and but sometimes people come in here and they think family and they think immediately of distrust or abuse, and how do we change the narrative? How do we change that?
Bailing me out.
Yeah, or enabling.
That's
Exactly. Yeah, that's
enablers.
That's me.
Enablers, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a hard one. Because I'm going to be honest, like, my mom and dad, they never did it in front of me, but I knew what they were doing, as I got older, I saw fights and, things that a kid shouldn't see. But when I got older, and had children of my own, that changed. I never let my daughter or my son see it, and they grew up fantastically. Y'all know Maya, y'all met Maya. But when children do come, I just want to say, a household that a child should not have grown up in, and that leaves it quite open. For them to come in here and have to look at us as family and we're strangers, to be honest, I feel like that's like a clean slate for them. Because the peers that are here now are also genuine, with their recovery. Like they're chasing it, they want it. And there's a lot of people that are like me, that they shine bright like the sun and they want to help you. They, if they see that you're having a bad day, you want to talk about it. And we're just so supportive of each other. I think, that peer-based recovery is what I honestly know is going to help somebody that comes from a horrible family background to come into McShin and be able to say, we're a family, and vibe with it, feel it, stay and get it. I hope that makes sense.
Definitely. That's what's been beneficial for me throughout my entire recovery journey is peers that I can trust and ones that I can pick and choose that I see what they have and want it.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Want what other people have.
Yeah.
And, I've said that a few times is that like,
and what's great
I
is
hang out with people who I think are role models.
Like-minded.
Like my role models. You know what I'm saying? People who are continuously uplifting the community and I wouldn't mind like being like.
Yeah. And it's great when you come to church on the weekend, when you're only supposed to be here for an hour and you see your peers shoveling snow. They don't have to do that. I'll be outside picking up cigarette butts. I don't have to do that. When you see them doing that, some people be like, why are they doing that? But after, seeing them do it so often and like just getting with the herd, then they'll get it, that sense of camaraderie.
And in the houses, we've Alex and I have both lived in housing, and we've both been house leaders in our housing. And I know for both of us, and it's certainly me especially, eating and sharing meals together was really important, and cooking for each other.
Yeah.
And that's not something that is required.
No, it's not.
It's not even, it's certainly not discouraged, but we don't say, hey, you should do this or that or the other. It's like, here's a house, here are the rules, here's the you need to take a piss test when we tell you to,
right.
Here's your curfew, don't be too loud, don't talk to the neighbors, and find a pathway of recovery. And it's not so cut and dry, just go and do whatever you want kind of a thing. But each house kind of develops its own personality, and that changes over time because the house changes with people. But I love it when the houses have that family vibe of cooking together.
Yeah.
That's a favorite for me. Those are the happy times in my family. Those are the dinner time, the Sundays, the Thanksgiving before it got too crazy at the end, when everybody's getting cranky with each other and
because you ate too much food.
Well, yeah, right. And everybody's getting pissed off, but no, and I love that because we do a lot of that here. And with COVID, boy, it's the first time I've said that word this entire podcast, and I love that. I wish I hadn't now, but with the pandemic, one of the things that we do here at McShin, and I think you were here before the pandemic, right? Yeah, and so you were too, obviously, and so we've done a lot of big, giant, cookouts and things like that, where it's constantly, right? I know I've kind of forgotten a little bit.
And the outings that we would do.
Oh my gosh. And we've been more, I mean, we've been all, the whole world has obviously been changing to accommodate this. And we've done this too, this podcast being one of the direct results of having that and needing that connection with the outer, outside world. But we still do it a little bit. We've put together this alumni room downstairs, which is being, I don't know if it's being worked on right this minute, but it's been, worked on this week. And, we're bringing people back in slowly but surely as we get, ready to go into the spring when hopefully, we'll be able to see each other again. But family, like the family of origin doesn't have to be the family we create now.
Absolutely not.
We get choices when we get into recovery, and our choices become a lot easier when we dedicate ourselves. When we dedicate ourselves to doing something a little better day by day. I know that I think all three of us work a program of recovery that talks about one day at a time.
Yeah.
And all four of us, I'll include Todd in this too. And I love that. I constantly talk about that with participants, and not necessarily, I'm not proselytizing on one recovery pathway over another. For me, I don't want to worry about a week or 2 or 3. How am I going to stay clean for the rest of my life?
Thank you.
That's scary,
Absolutely.
Or sober, for the rest of my life. For me, I can wake up in the morning and make a decision. So for you, what challenges do you see or what benefits do you see? How about that? We'll go with that way. What benefits do you see with recovery moving forward? And do you have any thoughts on goals, short and long term?
Oh, I absolutely do.
Yeah.
What Okay, hold on. What was the first part of the question? I'm just sorry. You just got me excited on goals, because it's like I want to take a class on writing and I want to write a book.
Yeah. So what
benefits?
Yeah, what are benefits of recovery?
What
and
aren't
goals?
the benefits?
Right. Yeah.
What aren't the benefits? I mean, I'm clean just for today. Like, I get to wake up, with amazing people. I mean, we could go back and keep it simple. A bed. Warmth, food, the basic needs that, a person needs to, just stay alive. You're not sick.
That gift of desperation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get hope back. You get your skin color back. Them pimples and them nasty scabs go away. I mean, like, what are not the benefits? You get to take a shower with hot water every day. I get to wash my clothes. I get excited about doing laundry now. I'm not lying.
That makes one of us.
I think we did I don't remember whose class it was in, but we did 5 things that we love.
Ooh,
and other than like the sun and just the, shine on my face. One of them was clean linen. There ain't nothing better than going to bed and snuggling up in your bed with freshly washed linen. And how simple is that? How just simple, and and people take those things for granted.
I agree.
And that's a big thing with McShin. Like, it's small things. It's the little things that you grow to appreciate again. That while in active addiction, you didn't. Yeah.
So I'm going to interject with that, as well. So, what do you do to stop yourself from forgetting that gratitude right there?
What I do.
So not just yourself, but in general, what's your advice to anybody? Like you just mentioned about, being grateful for, laundry, linens, roof over your head. At what point do you keep yourself from sliding back into a mental relapse where you forget the value of what you just spoke of? How can you relay that to others?
Like I said, I partied myself homeless, It's funny, but not, because when I was, I'm sleeping in a tent for, a week. That goes back to the whole, but when I think of the past, I'm not thinking high. I'm thinking about those times that, after the high was over, the situation I was in, being homeless. So just with me personally, now that I have it, I'm not going to give that up for anything, So, and I absolutely do. Like, when I wake up in the morning with that warm cup of, I'm grateful for that cigarette, and I have a job now, and I'm grateful, that, and, and just keep that in my head, instead of, like just the bad stuff, I'll remind myself for a split second, God, Tonya, you remember that time that you were saving your cigarette butts and buying the rolling paper so you could roll a cigarette? I ain't gonna live that life no more. I don't want to live that life no more.
And that was kind of my thought process there. That's why I was asking.
Yeah.
It's easy to get to a spot where you can easily forget what it used to be like, and then so you kind of slowly go down this rabbit hole where you find, before you know it, you find yourself back in old shoes and old habits. And that's why I'd ask, just for that advice piece, how do you try to relay that to others so that they don't follow that same pattern?
And also, I don't mean to interrupt you, again, going back to my grandmother who was Japanese, I watched, she went through some suffering, and when I was little, I was probably about 9 years old, I watched her open her doors to her ex-husband with a wife and kids, for dinner and stuff. And I was always so confused, like, Grandma, why are you doing that? Like, he did this and this, he was bad to you. She said, Tonya K, don't let the world harden you. She said, he does not have anything. I have it. So I'm going to open my door and give it to him. And I was like, wow, Grandma. And I never asked her, well, why? Why? It just stuck with me, that compassion, and that empathy. Like, don't ever lose that. And if you lose it, you can get it back. It's not hard to get it back, but just like, come on in and, kick it with some of the people around here.
That's a pretty cool anecdote. It's kind of like, one good reason will be better to do something than all of the bad reasons not to.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you can take
all the reasons not to.
What benefits are you going to reap from all that bad? None. What benefits are you going to reap from that one good? Yeah. So.
It's a risk reward balancing act, and it's an easy equation, I think, for sure. I remember just today when I was doing group this morning, it made me think how often like I would wake up feeling guilty. Like that was kind of like a lot of people say I woke up feeling miserable or shameful. I just felt like guilty, like I was doing something wrong all the time. And I don't know if I was all the time, aside from like driving without a license and kind of like being selfish. I wasn't really in my head screwing too many people over. I was just like waking up feeling guilty for being like an embarrassment is what
you
I
were
kind of
screwing
felt
yourself
like.
over.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I felt guilty of, is like that I was living a life of general destitution. Not like, oh, I woke up from robbing that dude last night. It was just like waking up feeling like, God, I'm just like, my priorities are so out of whack, type of stuff. Like that's what I felt most guilty of, is having all this stuff I needed to do and always getting wasted first, like every single time. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I'm getting a gratitude check right now. I'm grateful I don't have to wake up feeling guilty.
No.
Jails, institutions, dereliction, and death. Right. Those four things. Yeah. You're pretty awesome.
Thank you.
It's good to have you back.
I'm going to be honest.
For sure.
I was super nervous coming up here. I had butterflies in my chest. I was talking to Todd over here. But as soon as you guys sat down, I love you, Alex. I love you, Nathan. Y'all were like two people that I was just super hyped.
Tonya.
I mean, you got that harsh truth that everybody needs to hear.
This is what Tanya's told me the last couple of days, is that I'm an asshole.
Well, no, but it's,
when people meet me, but you told me the same thing.
That's that assholism that we need. That addicts need. And if it makes you feel some type of way, then guess what? You need to feel that type of way, because what you're saying is facts. That's that truth. Sit your butt down and listen. Come on, it's not that hard.
I talked to Tonya about coming on. I was like, that's a lot. I love Tonya.
I know, right? Well,
people have a hard time with that, because I remember certain times where I was probably hard on you and thought like, oh, like kind of what we were saying yesterday. It's like, was I too hard on that person, or am I making good suggestions? But the fact that you come back and say like, I appreciated it, because people don't appreciate it in the moment. They do after the fact a lot of times.
We got to go back and think about it for a second.
That means a lot to me, that like my gut, and even more importantly, this program of recovery is working. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I appreciate
that.
You know,
let's just real quick. I don't know if we have to end or not.
No,
but it was just like, we messed up being adults. Like we weren't getting adult right. You know, so when you come here and you got to give your phone up, you got to raise your hand, be quiet, you know, listen to the people who are teaching group, be respectful. They're like, why do I have to do chores? Because you won't getting it right out there. You got to come back, and it's baby steps. Even if you got to start crawling and then get up to the baby steps, that's what you got to do. You got to learn how to be an adult again because you didn't get it right the first, second, third, fourth, fifth time. How many times do you think you're going to get? Some people don't even get a second. I got a second, and I'm grateful for my second.
Before we do sign off, though, I want to bring 2 comments up here. Debbie Rosenbaum, again, she says, when we were talking about families earlier, and it says, sounds like, we can fix my glasses here. Sounds like you're describing a loving and caring family atmosphere. It's not always perfect, but everyone is invested in each other and wants healing for all.
Yes.
And then Gwen says, Tonya, have you heard of kintsugi? I believe it is. Yeah. I know what this is actually. It's the Japanese art of taking broken pieces of pottery and reforming them with gold to make them even more beautiful than before. I think that is an amazing metaphor for what recovery is. Now you are becoming something even more beautiful than you were before.
Oh, thank you, Gwen.
Yeah.
I've seen it. Like my grandmother, she had pieces like that, you know, in her house. But, you know, my grandma would be like, Tonya K, you stupid, you don't want to learn. Because when I was, seriously, because when I was younger, like she would try to like.
Is that your middle name K or something like that? And
she always called me and my mom by our middle names because it's my mom's Jane K and I'm Tonya K. Jane K, Tonya K, why are you so stupid? And that's how she would talk to us. Because, you know, so I didn't know, you know, the word for it because I was 16 literally. And my grandma sat me down and she was trying to teach me Japanese. Guess what my 2 words were that I learned? Keiakan Susumi. Guess what that means? Police officer run. She said, Tonya K, I cannot teach you. You go. You go. You stupid. You know learn.
You know learn.
You know learn. So.
I think I learned.
This is sayonara Japanese.
Sayonara.
Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa. Domo arigatou gozaimasu.
Oh, that sounded beautiful. What was that?
Thank you very much.
No.
Domo. Domo arigato. Domo. Domo arigato,
Mr. Roboto. Domo.
Ichi, ni, san, shi, go.
That's counting.
Oroko. Oh, I don't remember the rest after that. I lived in Japan when I was a kid. My dad was stationed over in Natsugi, which is about an hour, I think, south of Tokyo.
Yeah, my grandma she was a city girl. She was from Tokyo.
Yeah, yeah. I was 8 when we left. I was 5 when we got there. So, you know, and there was a lot of family crap that happened there. But it was amazing to go. And one of these days, I want to go back. You know,
I would love to go.
Let's do it.
I would love to go.
We'll take recovery to Tokyo. Tokyo, get in the herd. Tokyo edition. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh,
Dun,
that
dun,
would
dun,
be
dun.
awesome.
I was
My dad
probably
used to
racist.
sing the Jesus loves me in Japanese, I think is what it was.
Oh, no,
'Cause
no,
that's
no.
like a thing. I can't remember it as much anymore.
I almost bought this card. It was blank on the inside. It said, Jesus saves, Buddha recycles. I walked around with it for the longest time. I walked around. I was like, I like it. But the more I looked at it, I was like, man, Buddha don't recycle. Like, what you know? Grandma would smack me and be like, Tonya K, don't buy that. Waste your money on that.
Don't waste your money on that.
Yeah.
Don't waste your money. I like Japan for many, many reasons, but chief among them is they have a almost fetish fascination with Beethoven. You wouldn't. I mean, I just happen to know this, and Beethoven's birthday is in December, and they have big giant. In Japan, they have these big Beethoven festivals, and Beethoven's Ninth Symphony, which is the chorus symphony. Everybody knows the Ode to Joy. Da 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 da. Yeah, that was classical music right there from Nathan Mitchell. But they have these giant festivals there every year, and so one of these days I would love to go and hear like the Ninth Symphony played in some random little town in Japan.
Right.
In fact, on my arm. This is actually the symbol on the flag of Nagano, Japan. And there's a whole long story but behind that. But the very, very short version of that is where the Olympics were in 1998. Cool. And it's a private joke between me and somebody else. So I have I love that country.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to always walk around saying I'm big in Japan, and then somebody pointed out there's a song "Big in Japan," and now because I'm a short guy, if you're watching on the show, believe it or not, I'm 5'4.5". That half inch is very important.
It is.
It is
Because I'm 5'2.5".
Stop it.
We're on booster seats right here. I'm sitting on a phone book, and Alex.
I'm hunched over. I don't know if you can tell. This is me sitting up straight. Like I'm always like
This is me
leaning and just crawling when we do this, like constantly fidgeting. And
I'm a fidgeter too. I constantly, and it always seems that my mouth is the most moist in the day.
Ooh,
I never read that word during the show. Like as soon as the show comes on, I have to cough. I have a loogie in my throat, and like everything is like all the mouth and throat issues occur right when the show happens. So if you're listening out there, I apologize for all the mouth abominations.
Well,
the mouth abominations. I love it.
There's quite the trailer promo clip right there.
mouth, nose, and throat.
And if you're listening in a cell, man, we have a lot of fun out here in recovery.
We do.
Come join us.
Man.
Come join us and show us your mouth.
Clean fun. Sober living is where it's at.
Amen to
Catch
that.
a bond, and if you
Catch a
can't,
bond.
like seriously,
Catch a bond.
try to ask for a big book. Keep tuning in, and like I don't know, talk to someone else. Be honest with your intentions. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't have to be outside to get clean.
No, you don't.
Not at all.
No, you don't.
Mm-mm. And I know that we're coming up on the end of the hour, but I do know that we're going to have Cricket, who runs our jail programs, on. I don't know when we're going to have him on. In the next couple of days, hopefully Thursday.
Yeah,
Cricket is awesome.
I was pretty much blocking that out for Thursday because I know you said you were on available Wednesday.
Check with. I'm not not around tomorrow, but excuse me. What I love though is that we've been looking at the numbers, and so this show gets, and Tonya, for those of you just listening, I'm telling Tonya that, this show reached not 92,000 people.
Wow.
Actually,
or 92,000 people listening in a 3-month period, in a quarter.
Well, 94
or 94.
300.
Okay.
Wow.
So, or 320. That's the exact number.
Mm.
And then from the quarter previous to that, so the third quarter was only like
20,000?
something like that.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's like a 70% increase.
That's huge.
So
That is huge.
but yeah.
Well, and the reason I bring that up is because I hey Chip, Chip is watching
Friend and
the show.
super fan.
Yeah, super fan. We are, as we keep doing this show and we keep, sending this in to listen to people, I keep thinking about my own time in jail. And it was a short time. I know that, but it was still, it was a time where there was a lot of despair, a lot of, there's nothing out there for me.
Mm-mm.
And, I think about the things I did. One of the things that you just said, Alex, was, get a big book, and whatever pathway of recovery, that's great. But like I read a lot when I was in jail, and I did pick up a big book and a basic text. That's the AA and the NA literature for those of you. And I picked up whatever was out there, and I went to all the things that I could do. I was there before COVID. But I do recommend reading about that. Read the stories in the back if you don't want to read about the program itself. The stories in both of those books are really, there's a lot of great stuff in there. So with that,
What's the Cricket special?
Cricket.
The Cricket special would just be the special show that Cricket's on.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, for the listeners, Chip had made the comment.
Do not
about he needs the
Urban
Cricket
Dictionary
special.
that or anything.
Oh God,
because that does not sound like something safe.
No.
Cricket special. I believe that's also synonymous with the fromagère.
Cricket special.
How'd you like that callback, guys? I planned it from the beginning. I put Chip in there. This show's gone off the track.
Todd, when are you celebrating?
Oh my goodness!
Don't you have a celebration coming up?
Yeah, that's actually on the 18th. So
On the 18th of February.
Yep.
Is that your anniversary date?
Yeah.
We have the same anniversary date.
No way.
How do we
I
know
was going
this?
to ask you what yours was too, because I thought yours was in February.
February 18th is my day.
Stop it.
No kidding.
I'm so glad I asked.
Boom. Well, you've got what, 6 years coming up?
No.
5 years?
Four.
You've got 4 years. I've
Yeah.
got 3 years coming up.
Yeah. So
God willing, and the creek don't rise. And the
Congratulations.
creek don't rise.
yeah.
That means we got 16 days. We'll do like a little special pod.
No kidding! I didn't know that we had the same.
I guess that would be a Thursday.
Crazy.
That's pretty cool.
All right. Well, we've gone through the hour here, and we've had an amazing time with Tonya, and Tonya will be back. I'm sorry, I took over again. Do you want to close this out?
No. I just wanted to say I'm really proud of everyone here and everyone watching and everyone in recovery. Tonya, I love you. You're doing a great job. Just
Love
keep
you
it
more.
up and keep being that positive influence, and it'll continue to show, and it'll continue to give back to the community that you're a integral part of.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Todd.
Todd,
Thank you,
thank you,
Todd.
buddy. I love you, man. Nathan, I love you too, buddy.
I love you too, Alex.
I love
Thank you,
everyone
guys.
watching. Keep it up. I don't know. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Nathan, you got anything?
No. I don't know who put the angry face up there, but I hope that changes
Oh,
by the end
Oh,
of the day.
no.
All right, y'all.
Maybe they're angry because they're not with McShin.
That may be. Maybe.
Yeah, come on.
All right.
Get in the herd.
All right, guys. So this has been Get in the Herd. Peace out.
Love you.
Here at McShin, we believe in the McShin way, which is authentic recovery support service providers, people with lived experience, bringing that experience to those who need that lived experience in recovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in many things to support our mission. We believe in women empowerment.
What I love most about what we believe here at McShin is we believe in the authenticity of the peer-to-peer approach.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in giving people opportunity.
Here at McShin, we believe in the inherent worth and dignity of every person.
At the McShin Foundation, we believe in helping people reach their full potential.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in multiple pathways to recovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in placing principles before personalities to help spread hope.
Here at McShin, we believe that recovery is possible and that any person seeking recovery can become a more acceptable, responsible, and productive member of society.
Here at the McShin Foundation, we believe in self-discovery.
Here at McShin, we believe in saving lives and offering second chances.
Here at McShin, we believe you can do this.
Here at McShin Foundation, we believe that we can only keep what we have by giving away, which is why we continue to help others like us seek and find recovery.
We'll get there soon. We'll get there soon. We could be any place. We'll get there soon. We'll get there soon.